You're listening to littlepodcast.com.
So there was one more thing that came out of all this that was sort of Metroid related, and I thought based on the name that it was a Metroid only thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm hedging. I'm
Okay.
reluctant to mention this because I have a lifelong policy against hacking and emulating and modding and anything of the kind. I'm a lifelong Nintendo purist.
But this is for a good cause.
It's I feel like I'm making this my worthy exception. So I'm putting my stamp of approval on one particular Nintendo game mod. I got started on this when last month Masahiro Sakurai, the current head of Smash Brothers at Nintendo, he tweeted a picture of a couple of costumes that are going to be in Smash Brothers 4. He showed a Mario costume that's based on an old NES golf game, and also in the shot was a white Samus. It was her normal power armor with the larger shoulder pads, but in a white color scheme, which is supposed to be a reference to the Light Suit from the end of Metroid Prime 2. If you've played that game, you'll remember it. It's one of the best-looking armors Samus has ever had. I thought that was kind of cool. I've always wanted that in a Smash Brothers game. I love that costume so much. But then the conversation on Reddit went right to one person who pointed out that Project M did it better. Project M is a fan mod of Smash Brothers that tries to make the Wii game Brawl more like the GameCube game Melee. That's where they get the M in their name, Project M. And they've been rebalancing Brawl for a long time, coming out with their own tweaked, optimized versions of the characters and changes to the overall rules of the game. Like there's no more random tripping when you run. And they've added in some characters.
Wait. There's random tripping?
Yeah, the Wii game has random tripping. It's been infamous for that among competitive players for a long time. You'll go into a run, and sometimes, just because it's hilarious, your character will just trip and fall on their face.
You're kidding me.
I can't believe you don't remember that. It's really annoying. It doesn't happen that often, but when it happens, you remember it.
Well, maybe it's just because I feel like
just happened to me?
I feel like I'm so weak sauce that maybe I just thought that I screwed up somehow.
Maybe.
No, I don't know.
That's just an example of some of the things that were a little not preferable.
Right.
About the Wii game. But Project M sets out to fix that, and the way I was introduced to it was that a couple of weeks before Sakurai tweeted their version of Smash Brothers Light Suit, these fan modders put out some looks at the next batch of alternate costumes they're putting into the game. And their alternate costumes are not just recolors. They are alternate models, and they look fantastic. I don't know, do you put out show notes for these things or links or something? All right. Well, people need to see what the original Light Suit looks like, what Nintendo's official Smash Brothers version of it looks like, and then what the fan version looks like, because the fans are doing a much better job than the professionals in this case.
And what's even more impressive to me is that they go through so much effort. It's like,
yeah. Their modifications to characters include things like their version of Samus, regardless of costume, can side taunt to switch to Ice Beam, which affects several of her moves. They made it so that her holding shield and retreating move isn't the morph ball anymore, but she does go into morph ball if you attempt to crawl like Solid Snake. That's right. If you make Metroid crawl, she will morph ball.
Jesus.
That is a Project M innovation. And by the way, anyone who wants to play this, it's incredibly easy. You don't need to mod your Wii. You don't need the homebrew channel. It does run on Wii U. All you need to do is have a Brawl save. Go into the custom stage editor and delete all of your custom stages or move them onto some other SD card that you're going to set aside, keeping in mind that this game is so old it's not compatible with SD cards larger than 2 gigs. And then you take an SD card that you'll devote just to being your Project M SD card, go to the Project M website. It's projectmgame.com, and they'll give you the files that you need to put on your SD card. And then the way you run it is you just have the SD card in your Wii or Wii U, go into the custom stage editor, and it fires up. It loads this thing called a strap loader, which is a little intermediary menu before you get to their actual mod that lets you check to see if there are any newer versions of it. And then they send you off to their, I think, much improved version of Smash Brothers Brawl. It'll be very interesting when Smash Brothers 4 for Wii U and for 3DS finally, yeah, when that finally comes out, it'll be interesting to see how they stack up, because the new game will have a lot of characters that they've promised they won't be hacking into the old Wii game. But I think the fan versions of a lot of the returning characters might be a lot more interesting. There's a lot of alternate costumes and a lot of very cool work there.
It's such a weird state of affairs. Like
yeah, it makes me a little sad, but big props to the fans.
Okay.
They're not putting like crazy costumes in there either. They have a stringent standard that their additions to the game are things that are appropriate for the spirit of a Nintendo fan letter game.
I wonder how many of those people are going to get jobs out of this.
Yeah, right.
Or sued.
I figure that's their real motivation. Is it's a resume piece.
Right. Because I can't even imagine, because this thing is like self-updating too, right? So you don't even have to worry about it once you load it. It's just crazy.
Well, it's not self-updating, I don't think.
No.
What it is every time you go into the stage editor to boot it up, you're in the intermediary menu that you can use to update the game. Okay. And that's it.
Okay.
If there's an update, that's where you can get it. Or you can use your computer to replace the files on your SD card or whatever, but that's the hard way. Once you've got the mod on an SD card, that's it. You can update it through your Wii from there in the future.
Well, mind blown. It wouldn't have happened if I weren't obsessed with Metroid right now.
Mm-hmm.
Famicom Dojo.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Famicom Dojo video game podcast. We're bringing you a new episode, at least new video, every Friday right here on YouTube. This week we're trying something different. We're going to break up the podcast into several episodes and just see how that goes. Oh, this? You see the other guy. Well, don't worry about it. We'll get it fixed before the Spring Dojo continues next week. So enjoy the episode.